Hello and welcome to today's live coaching call and community conversation. And welcome back. I just got off a plane from my trip to Hawaii this morning, so I'm a little bit tired from an overnight flight, but we're going to get this done. And I'm going to share with you guys some pretty exciting information and a little bit of my own journey with osteopenia, which will hopefully give you some hope if you are maybe struggling with some things that are related to menopause as well. So welcome. My name is Diane Parham. We talk about all things that are pertinent to us as women who are going through this aging season called menopause here on this channel. And we do like to do it from the premise or the lifestyle changes that we all are incorporating using intermittent fasting. So welcome. I'm going to go through what bone density scores are today. I'm going to share with you what some of my scores have been, and then I'm also going to share with you some things that I have done to help contribute to some changes that have taken place with my own struggle with osteopenia over the past couple of years. So do me a favor in the comment section, if you have been told that you have osteopenia or maybe you have osteoporosis, put that in the comment section below. What I'm going to be doing on Friday is sending out to everyone who's on my email list the list of things that I have done very specifically over the course of the past couple of years that have contributed to some pretty significant changes in the right direction for me. So let's get started today. So first thing I always like to say is I am not a doctor, so by no means is this medical advice. I'm just sharing with you the things that I have done and what it is that I teach here in this community as a fasting mindset coach, and how you can really take control of your own health and future by just making some pretty easy lifestyle changes. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So let's talk about bone density first. So when you are told that, I don't like to use the word diagnosis, so let's say just told, when you are told or informed that you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, that usually means that you have had a DEXA scan done at a doctor's office and your readings are in the negative. So any positive number reading that you get on a DEXA scan means that there's no sign of bone density loss. Anything that starts in the negatives is an indication that you're going in the direction of some loss of your bone density. This is really common for women in menopause just because of the hormone changes that we, are going through. There's some couple other factors that can contribute to osteopenia and osteoporosis, and I am one of those people who is in that category of other things that can contribute. Having children, the number of children that you have. I know for me, I was on blood thinners when I had my daughter at the age of 40. And I knew one of the risk factors was loss of bone density, but I wanted to go ahead with the chances of having that be a problem down the road were the risk I was willing to take for the benefit of the pregnancy that I wanted to have. So I knew the risk was there. So those are some things that you want to look at. I always say go back to your history and your story and your journey as a woman. The journey that we have all lived will lead to clues as to where we are today. So always make sure you do a little bit of that retracing of your history and your story as a woman and a young girl also, because that can also lead to clues as to, like I said, the things that are coming up for us as we enter into menopause. So bone density, like I said, negative numbers are indicators that you are in either osteoporosis or osteopenia. Osteopenia is sort of like the pre-diabetic state to diabetes. So it's sort of like pre-osteoporosis. If you have numbers that are between a -1 and a -2.5, that is osteopenia. So that's when your doctor will probably tell you that they want to keep an eye on some things. They're probably going to recommend some lifestyle changes. We're going to go through what some of those are as well. And so that's just like the precursor, or like I said, if you want to have something that you can relate to, pre-diabetes versus diabetes, I always think of osteopenia as the pre-osteoporosis. And then anything that's a -2.5 or below. So remember, the bigger the negative number, the closer you are getting to full-blown osteoporosis. So this is how you can read a DEXA result that you get from your doctor, or how your doctor will read it to you. I always recommend anytime you go to your doctor for any kind of scans or any kind of test that you get a hard copy of the results that you're getting, so that if you want to go on and do some further research, or you want to go get a second opinion, or you want to start, figuring out what your next moves are, you have that information available to you to do what it is you need to do. So remember, negative numbers indicate a loss of bone density. Okay, so I'm going to share with you now the results that I got 2 years ago and the results that I just recently got at my annual physical. So in 2021, and there's two primary areas, just so we can kind of go through a little bit more what a DEXA scan does. They test your lower spine, and they also test your hip area. And so those are the two areas that are really viewed on a DEXA scan to show what your bone density level is. So in 2021, my spine reading was a negative 1.8. This year, just this month, it was a negative 1.5. So we see an increase in bone density by 0.3. So things are moving in the right direction. My hip reading in 2021 was a negative 1.6. This year, my hip reading was a negative 1.0. So anything that's a negative 1.0 or above is considered normal. So I went from an osteopenia to a pretty normal reading. I mean, I would like to see this not in the negative, trust me, but it went up improved by 0.6 on my DEXA scan. And then the total overall bone density reading I have is a negative 1.5 in 2021 and a negative 1.3 in 2023. So moving in the right direction again by 0.2. I will take all of these improved readings. So this is why I also say it's really important to make sure that you leave with your readings for your tests as well, so you can also track whether the direction in which your scores are going, whether they're going more in the negative or they're moving back toward the positive. So significant improvement, in my opinion. I thought for sure this conversation at my doctor's office this year was going to be about how do we get that hip replaced, and it looks like everything's are moving in the direction that I wanted to go, actually, which is we're seeing some improvement in the overall bone density. Okay, so what can you do to improve your bone density, or even just slow down the progress of going from osteopenia to osteoporosis? So always exercise. Exercise is the number one thing that we can do to improve our bone density. I think a lot of us know that kind of in the back of our mind, but it isn't that thing that we really pay serious attention to or consistency and dedication to until we get told there's a problem. So I always recommend anything that I do where I'm coaching women, or a lot of the conversations that we have here, is exercise, exercise, exercise. You want to make sure you are keeping your body moving for a lot of reasons outside of osteopenia and osteoporosis, but also for that reason as well, right? So weight-bearing exercises, so walking, running, anything where you're just having to use your body to support yourself. And so weight bearing exercises are great. And then also strength training as well. Of course, you want to keep mobility and flexibility in there as well. And one of the things that I always recommend for women is making sure that the exercise that you're incorporating in your life is exercise that's going to be functional for how it is you want to progress through your life. So there's 4 things that we want to make sure that we're doing also. That's making sure that we can bend, we can flex, we can push, and we can pull, right? And those are all the things that we need to be able to have in our life to be able to just move around freely, but will also contribute to our overall bone health as well. So if you're not currently exercising, it is highly recommended that you start doing something. Even walking is a great place to start, just to make sure you are getting that weight bearing exercise in, as well as you are getting some strength training as well in there, just by improving the muscular function of what you have going on when you're moving your body and supporting it through a walk. And then lifestyle changes. This is where this community is very important for what it is we want to do with our lifestyle changes. Again, we don't want to wait until we get told something is wrong. We always want to be on the front end and doing the things that we need to do to prevent things from happening. So dietary changes and environmental changes. Okay, so what does this mean? When our body has to manage taking care of the decisions that we are making that aren't working for us. It's busy solving those tiny little problems day in and day out, and it can't work on the big things. This is where intermittent fasting, in my opinion, has been so beneficial to so many women, and what I really credit a lot of the health improvements I have made, even in my post-menopausal state, are the lifestyle changes that I'm making. And intermittent fasting has been the one that has been the most consistent for me. And I think it's been the one that has caused the biggest changes in the right direction. Dietary. Remember, anytime you're putting something in your body that your body cannot tolerate, so you have an intolerance to it, and you're not listening to those signs and signals that your body is sending you about that intolerance, then it has to manage that. And when your body is busy spending time and energy and resources trying to manage poor food choices, it doesn't have the time, energy, and resources to manage the big problems, which are the problems that usually take us out, right? And so dietary changes are very, very important, and we should be taking them very seriously. Our body is sending us signs and signals all the time. We have to listen to them and then be really honest about the food choices that we are making. Environmental changes are also very key. Again, when you're putting your body in a compromised position through environmental hazards, then your body has to manage those reactions and responses, even hormonally, with your body, and it doesn't have the opportunity to take care of the bigger underlying problems. And so the less environmental hazards we bring into our life, the more opportunity we provide for our body to manage the big problems, which are those underlying ones. The reduction of inflammation is key with improving our bone density. Again, when our body is inflamed, it is constantly fighting this battle of sickness. I mean, inflammation is just an illness and a sickness that our body has to manage. The more we can keep that reduced, the better opportunity we have for our body to stay in a healed state. Again, this is where intermittent fasting has been clutch for so many women, and where I really put a lot of credit into the changes that I have made, and then also have reaped the benefit of those changes. Inflammation is the number one cause of all things that are going on with our body that we don't like. And so if you can keep that at bay, then you have a better opportunity for your body to do what it's been designed to do, and that's keep us in a healed state. So intermittent fasting is the number one way to reduce and or eliminate inflammation. We do that through the process of that clean fast that we talk about here and what I teach about inside the intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. And then the consistency over time with the reduction of inflammation is where, again, our body will stay in that healed state. So remember, inflammation can come from a lot of things. It can come from just wear and tear. It can come from some of these poor dietary choices that we're making. And when I say poor, I just mean that we're eating for the wrong reasons, right? Or we're eating food that we know is causing us problems, but the emotional and mental attachment we have to that is the thing that we are leading with. And we're not thinking about the physical damage that some of those things are having for us. Again, this is the mindset approach for fasting and lifestyle changes as well, is where is food fitting into our life, and how are we using food, and are we using it inappropriately? And if you're finding that you are managing a lot of illnesses and a lot of these problematic areas that come along naturally with menopause, again, we need to look at food and the relationship that we have with food. And is that relationship contributing to some of the demise that we are feeling and, kind of unhappy with as we're going through this season of menopause? And then environmental is such a big one, because again, all the things that we put in our body, we put on our body, and we put around our body affects our body chemically and hormonally. And again, our body will just get robbed of all the nutrients that we need to keep ourselves healthy and alive if our body is having to manage a bunch of other things. And then supplementation is also key. The thing I want to say about supplementation, and I'll include this in the email that I'm going to be sending out on Friday, including all the things that I have incorporated very specifically in my life over the course of the past several years. But supplementation is that thing that we have to remember is, in fact, supplementing, right? And for a lot of us who are aging, our body has just been a little deficient or maybe had a hard time just retaining some of the nutrients that we have been putting in it. So supplementation is also very key. There's one thing that I like to say about supplementation that I want to make sure that we all are very aware of here in this community, is that there is the tendency to be a little bit what I call supplementation desperation, right? Where we aren't really thinking about how it is we're incorporating supplementation into our life and how it is factored into reducing inflammation and the dietary and environmental changes that we are also taking place. That supplements alone are not going to be the quick fix. They're not the magic pill. They're not the one thing that you're missing. It is, in fact, just supplementing all of the other things that you are incorporating into your life. It's just one of the things, right? And so we want to make sure that we are getting that as well, not only through supplementation, as in, some vitamin D or some K2 or some magnesium, but we also want to make sure that the supplementation that we're bringing in is going to enhance the dietary changes that we're making as well. So they all go hand in hand. You have to do them all consistently over time in order to really get these changes that we are hoping for and reversing things like osteopenia and osteoporosis. It can be done. I just showed you my numbers. And so I want to make sure that you leave today's conversation with some hope and with some things that you can think about incorporating into your life so that you can also take control of the future of you and your body. Intermittent fasting is the number one thing that I always credit all of these improvements that I am seeing for myself with my season of life and the aging that process that I'm going through, and some of the things that I have been able to rebound from. I've been able to reverse pre-diabetic conditions, insulin resistance. Now with this osteopenia score, I'm going to put that on my little resume as well of things that I've been able to do. But the number one thing is the consistency over time. You cannot quick fix any of these things that are going on with menopause, because menopause, if you're in it, it's staying with you till the end of time, right? Menopause is just the season of life that we are going to live in for the rest of our lives. So we have to make sure that we're incorporating these changes as lifestyle changes that will stand the test of time for us. So if you're going to start incorporating exercise, you have to do exercise that you enjoy doing, that are going to make sense for the end goal that you have for yourself. Again, there's not one exercise that's going to be key to reversing osteopenia or improving your osteoporosis. It's exercise in general. So get your body moving and do it in a way that's going to be weight bearing for you, and it's going to help you improve that strength as well. Again, with the lifestyle changes, it's not just one thing. It's not just starting intermittent fasting or cutting food out of your life for 20 hours a day. It's paying attention to the food that you do put in when you open up your feasting window. It is paying attention to the environmental things that you have in your life that could be contributing to some of the inflammation that you're having to deal with, or the extra weight that you are carrying. All of these things are just signs of entering into some of these disease states, and that we know that when we eliminate all of those things, and this is again where intermittent fasting has been so clutch for so many of us, is we take the problem away for 20 hours a day and we let our body have an opportunity to heal itself and reset itself. And then again, the supplementation. You can Google all of this. It's all available on the internet. K3, D2, I believe it is. You want to make sure you're getting your magnesium, of course, calcium. Magnesium is actually more important for osteopenia and osteoporosis than calcium, believe it or not. And then making sure that you have a nice rotation of healthy foods in your diet as well. I'm super excited to share this with you guys, because again, it's just another one of those feathers in our caps that we get to walk around with to prove that we can, in fact, reverse some of the things that tend to creep up on us as we age, regardless of what people are telling you is supposed to happen to you. You have the power to make some changes and make some improvements if you take your overall health and well-being and the future that you want to have for yourself in your own hands. And so I'm always going to be here to make sure that we share that with you here in this community, and that I offer the best support possible for anyone who is looking to make these changes. Okay, so I'm going to put in the comment section the registration for the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. That is where I believe this has all started. It's where it started for me. It's where it started for so many of you who are making improvements as well. You have to get the mindset part of aging down. You have to get the mindset approach to how it is you're going to care for your body down. You have to make sure that you are getting rid of a lot of these diet type mentalities, and you really are in a place where you're going to plant both feet on the ground very firmly and say, enough is enough. I'm going to incorporate these lifestyle changes for today and my future self. And it's very common sense. It's very easy to do. And all you have to do is just put it on rinse and repeat. Looks like I muted myself. Sorry about that. Jenny, looks like you've been diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis. And then hopefully you're doing some of these things already to give yourself the opportunity to either slow it down, stop it, or reverse it. These are all of the things that are recommended as well. And then here's what I also want to say. And again, I'm not coming from a medical approach, meaning I'm not a doctor. I'm just a woman who's doing all the things I can to like live my best life as I'm going through post menopause and these next hopefully several decades that I have the opportunity to live and enjoy my life as a healthy woman. The thing that I want to also let you guys know is that you can do this in a very natural way. So I haven't taken any kind of prescriptions at all. And my doctor, when I left my appointment, said, just keep doing what you're doing. Everything's going great, right? And that's the kind of information we want to have when we leave a doctor's appointment. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything's looking great. And so I want to also offer that hope as well. Do the research, commit to you, be consistent with what it is you're doing health-wise over time. It will pay you back tenfold. Your body does not want to age poorly. Your body does not want to start disintegrating from the inside out. And so what we want to do is we want to take control of how it is we're going to age. And it's open knowledge, right? It's available to anyone who wants to Google it. The hardest part for so many people is the commitment to you consistently over time. And that's, again, where this community is always going to be available to you, and where I do recommend, if you haven't yet, jump into the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course, and then you'll have the opportunity to jump into our Mindset Shift course as well. And that's where we do a lot of this commitment mentally and emotionally to what it is that we say that we want for ourselves. Julie, yes, I've been diagnosed with osteoporosis, been on medication. Awesome. And how is that medication helping you, and are you seeing some reversal or slowdown? And Carolee, yes, I've been diagnosed with osteoporosis in my lower back and osteopenia in my hips. Okay, well, girlfriend, make sure you're doing these kind of things consistently over time. If you're not intermittent fasting yet, I highly recommend it, just because, again, it just gives your body that opportunity to reduce inflammation. That's the number one thing that's going to be happening for you, is that loss of inflammation. Consistently doing it over time, and then also making sure that you're really, really honest with yourself about the other lifestyle changes that you're making as well. B, look forward to finding out what to do about it. Here you go, right here. This is all we have to do to make sure that we are putting our body in the most advantageous arena for improving our overall health and well-being. Now, remember this as well. I say this all the time here. Our body decides what priority it's going to heal itself, right? So it decides the hierarchy of healing, is the way I like to say it. And so the consistency over time part is big. Don't question the clean 20-hour fast. It is the best medicine for a body who's in a state that needs to be healed or wants to be healed. And so don't question that. Lean into that as much as you can. And then, of course, we always let life happen and those kind of things. But you want to be in a healed state for as long as you can, as often as you can, so you can provide that opportunity. Hey, Leona, so good to see you. Stefanda, hello. Thank you for telling everyone to hit that like button. I walk and strength train, but I had hurt my back and quit the strength training for 2 years. Big mistake. Well, it's not a mistake. So here's the thing, Carolee, you did what you had to do at that time, but now you know, right? And so I would get back into that strength training for sure. And you're walking, so that's great as well. I think one of the things that I'm going to be looking into doing probably over the course of the next year or so is getting into some swimming as well. I know that's not weight bearing, but it's something that I said I was always going to do it when my kids were raised and I had time to go to a pool and all those kind of things. So anything that you can do to get your body moving and really keep those joints flexible, and anytime we exercise, we're creating all kinds of chemical and hormonal reactions for the good in our body. So anything that you can do is going to be beneficial. But yeah, if you're feeling like you're ready to get back in that strength training, just jump back in. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about any regrets. Don't worry about why you stopped. Don't just let that go. And today you decide how you're going to get yourself back into a strength training program. B, hey, Carolee, I started strength training several months ago and way overdid it, injured myself. I started strength training again, going slowly this time. Yeah, here's the thing I want you guys to think about too with strength training. Like there's just certain things that I just don't do anymore I just don't want to put myself in harm's way. So I don't do burpees. There's no need for me to do that. There's certain exercises I don't do anymore. I like walking lunges. I used to love them. I just don't do them anymore because every time I do, it feels like my knees are just gonna, pop on me. So, but there's other things that you can do that mimic those types of exercises, but might be more in line with where your body is today. So there's lots of things on the internet, again, that you can look into. But one thing that I say that we really want to focus on is longevity type of exercises, right? And the exercises that are going to allow us to continue to live the life that we want to live and then move about the way we want to move about. And so look at some of those kind of exercises as well. And especially if you're working with a trainer, make sure your trainer is open to you incorporating moves and exercises in your program with them that are suited to lifestyle and not so much gym type of strength training, right? And there is a big difference for that. And so make sure you pick the right strength trainer for that as well. Honestly, I can only walk. So here's the deal. Walking is so beneficial to us, and the just and only needs to be taken out of when we describe walking, right? You can walk on an incline, you can walk at different paces, you can walk up and down stairs. Like there's all kind of things that we can do. So Fiona, what I would recommend, and it sounds like you're doing 10,000 plus steps daily, has changed your body tremendously, and minerals in my water, my bones are great. Fantastic. And just don't say only walk, just say I walk, right? Because walking is fantastic, and it's the consistency over time of that walking that you are seeing the benefits that you're reaping from that as well. Jackie, I have osteoporosis and rheumatoid arthritis, and this is why I quit sugar and started IF over a year ago. I need to check my numbers. Yeah, I think and this is my scores were I'll leave this up for everyone who wants to see this, but my scores were 2 years apart. And I think it is recommended that you get a DEXA scan every 2 years. So if it's been 2 years, I would definitely go to your doctor and see if you can get it done. And here's the other thing. There's a lot of cool little like pop-up sites, fitness testing places now that you can go to, and you can just get your own DEXA scan done. And they tell you more information in those types of places than your doctor's office as well. So maybe look at something like that for you. All right, let's see. Paulette, what were your numbers? I missed the first part. Let me show you. So these are my numbers. So 2021, this was my spine was a negative 1.8, and now today my spine is a negative 1.5, so improved by 0.3. My hip was a negative 1.6, and now it's a negative 1.0, so it improved by 0.6. Anything that's a negative 1.0 or above is considered normal. So we're going to take that as a big fat normal right there. And then my total was a negative 1.5 2 years ago. Now it's a negative 1.3, so improved by 0.2. So all of these are moving in the right direction. Can you recommend a good supplement? I'm going to be sending everything out in an email on Friday with all of what I have personally used and what I feel comfortable sharing. So make sure you get on my email list. You can go to fortodaysagingwoman.com, my website there, and you can get on my email list there. Or if you go to fortodaysagingwoman.com/find out more, that's the link that I put here. You can get on my email list as well. I'm going to send it to my whole email list on Friday, again, with all of the things that I recommend personally that I have taken. I'm going for a bone scan next month. I do all the recommendations. I'm praying I see good results. Yeah, and here, Julie, here's what I want you to go into that appointment with this kind of mindset, right? Is the scan is just feedback. It's going to tell you what your next moves are going to be, and it's not going to tell you really like anything else. I don't want you to go with any thoughts about it. It's like, okay, here's where we are today. What's our plan moving forward? And then own your plan moving forward. Osteopenia is just one of those things, like I said, that happens over time. I mean, we have, especially if you've given birth and you've grown human beings inside of your body, that takes a toll on our bodies. The loss of estrogen takes a toll on our body. So there's a lot of things that are going on that is just part of life, right? And so get the numbers, develop a plan for yourself, and then do some of the things that we've done here. And then, like I said, I'll share some stuff on my email list on Friday of the things that I've done there as well. Sherry, hello, July 22 grad. I've been diagnosed with bone and have been exercising and strength training for years. I was actually very surprised when I was diagnosed, looking for what supplements to try. Yeah, I was very surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised just because of the blood thinners that I was on. And so I knew there was going to be something. This was the one that I think kind of worried me the most because I was feeling it, and I'm a runner, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all the right things, like you were saying. How did I end up with this situation, right? And then I flipped that thought and that mindset to how can I control this and really have an opportunity to have a different outcome for myself. And so I have mixed up some things. I've been walking and running. I'm doing more consistent strength training. I'm very consistent with my fasting, as you guys all know, and I'm very consistent with what I have going on with my supplementation as well. So I'm just praying, right, that the consistency over time of doing all the good things and the inflammation and the intermittent fasting part, I think, are the two biggest things that have really put all the pieces to the other parts of the puzzle together. So consistency over time is the best thing. Julie, I'm the same, been exercising daily and fast. Yeah. I take vitamin D, K2, and magnesium. And yes, I do intermittent fasting. Really appreciate all your info to help. Yeah, for sure. B, what is K2? K2, like, so I'm not a scientist, a doctor, any of those kind of things. I just know that there's some complementary vitamins that should go together. So D3 and K2 and I think I might have said K3 and D2 before, but it's D3 and K2. They complement each other and are really powerful together for bone density. So just Google why that is. And there'll be something that you can research on that as well. But anytime I've been told to take those vitamins or supplements for bone health, they've always been mentioned together. And so that's how I take them, is together. So D3 and K2. Martha, you are so right. My oncologist is super happy with my IF lifestyle. I do 1 meal a day IF and my body loves it. I believe this has helped me stay in remission with lymphoma and breast cancer. Yes, and there is a study that was done, Martha, for breast cancer survivors and intermittent fasting and the decreased reoccurrence of breast cancer. So again, when your body is in a state of healing, your body heals itself. That's what it's been designed to do. And when it's in a state of being fed, or it's in a state of always having to manage some intolerances and inflammation and all these pesky little problematic lifestyle things, then it can't get down and dirty with the serious work. And that's keeping us alive and healthy, right? And so I'm so proud of you for all the work that you're doing for you and your future self and your health. And just keep doing all those things, girlfriend. Everything's working in the right direction for you. You mentioned a 20-hour fast. Will 16-8 give you the same benefits? I don't know. know, because I mostly fast 20 hours and feast for 4. For a lot of women in this season of menopause, and again, it all just depends on what your lifestyle is, and what you feel most comfortable with. But the 20-hour fast does provide the best healing benefits just because of the length of the time of the fast and what your body is able to do in that. Now, do I fast every single day for 20 hours? No. I just came off of a trip with my daughter in Hawaii. We definitely didn't fast 20 hours every day. Now I'm back. Am I going to be fasting 20 hours every day? Absolutely. I'm going to do it to, get my circadian rhythm back on track. We have like a 5-hour time difference. We flew all night. I'm exhausted. So I'm going to be fasting for that. And I use it as my catch-all go-to tool anytime I want to look and feel my best, right? Anytime I want to reset anything going on with my body, the 20-hour fast is always the thing that I lean into, and I lean into it very seriously and very hard. So now if you live a 16-8 lifestyle and you're reaping all the benefits from that, then that might be sufficient for you. But what I teach here is the 24, and I do it for very specific reasons. Carol Lee, I forgot to say I'm an October 22 grad. Love it, girlfriend. And hopefully you're incorporating all those things that you learned in class on rinse and repeat. That it definitely won't fail you. B, you're welcome. Shauna, hi Diane. I get out every morning and walk. I do 4 laps around in my neighborhood, and I'm not into strength training. Too stressful. I'm also going to take weights to strengthen my arms more. Yeah. So here's what I think a lot of us need to do, and I had to do this for myself, is we need to reframe in our brain what strength training is. And when we think about strength training, what does that mean for us, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with the old-fashioned gym days and all the things we were told we had to do. You say, like, and even when I say the word burpee, I like cringe, right? I hate that exercise. It hurts my body. But, there's people who back in the day told you had to do it to get XYZ results. And so I think if you can reframe and redefine what strength training means to you and really do it from the approach for longevity and lifestyle, like what kind of things do you want to do in your life and incorporate those types of strength training exercises? Like, do you want to be able to put things up in a cupboard? Do you want to be able to take things down from a cupboard? Do you want to be able to push your body off the ground? Do you want to be able to squat down and pick something up? Do you want to be able to bend over and pick something up? And we start incorporating those types of strength training exercises into our life, then strength training has a new definition and a new meaning for us. So look into some of those things as well, Shauna, and see if that will help you. Here we talk about, we don't want to be that woman that falls down and can't get herself up. So those exercises, planks, push-ups, I always say if you can watch TV on the floor and practice pushing yourself up off the ground when you're done watching TV, like that's lifestyle exercising and strength training. And so we want to make sure that we're doing it from that standpoint as well. So one of the things that I did for strength training is I do strength training for runners, because my brain like fires up when I hear strength training for runners. When I think about strength training at the gym and I get a vision in my mind of what that looks like, I'm totally turned off by that. So see if you can get your brain to commit and connect to a different style of strength training that will reap the benefits that you're hoping for you. Cindy, yes. Okay, awesome. Julie, thank you. You're welcome. Sorry, I do 18-6. Okay, 18-6 is great if that's working for you, for sure. Again, the science with the 20-hour fast is just you get 2 more hours in that state of autophagy. Theories are that autophagy takes place at 17 hours. So if you end your fast at 18, you had like 1 hour, hopefully, in that deep healing state. And if you're going to 20, you just get the extra couple. So that's why we really talk about the 20 here. Kathleen, in the research I've done, I learned that D3 pushes calcium out of the bone into the bloodstream. K2 helps maintain the calcium in the bone. People on blood thinners cannot take K2. There you go. Thank you for letting us know about your research as well. Yeah, and I have always just taken those 2 together since my original osteopenia feedback from my doctor. And so I just take them together. I get them together in the same supplement. Linda, hope you enjoyed some wonderful healthy food in Hawaii. We enjoyed a lot of food in Hawaii. Healthy. It was hard to find a salad, believe it or not, in Hawaii, which seems bizarre. But we had a really good time. And I ran my daughter's cross-country schedule. So she's in cross-country. She's in training for next season. And so every morning we woke up between like 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning. And we went out and we did our runs. We did 4-mile runs. We did 7-mile runs. We did 3-mile runs every single day. We went on a 3-mile hike together, which was super fun. And every day we were out in the beautiful Pacific Ocean, swimming around and boogie boarding. So we had a very, very active time in Hawaii, which was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I'm super proud of myself. I kept up with a 17-year-old cross-country girl. Now, I didn't run with her because she runs way faster than I do, but whatever mileage she had to run that day, I ran the same thing. So that was super fun to do. Cindy, I have osteopenia. Take Prolia, walk, and do aero Pilates. Fantastic. Martha, thank you, Diane, for your gifts to us of these pep talks and support for healthy life. February 24 grad, 23 grad probably. Jan, August 22 grad. I was just on Maui pet sitting for a friend. What island were you on? We were on Oahu. So we stayed in Waikiki. It was so beautiful, so much fun. But I haven't been to that island since I was in the military. I went when I was in the Air Force and stayed for a couple of days when I was there. Man, it was like Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, the street that we were on. But it was super fun. We had a great time. Yeah, it was a really fun time. So we stayed on, so we hung out on Waikiki, the beach, the whole time we were there. Sherry, I'm currently in midlife mindset shift course. Will I get the email you mentioned? 100%, my friend. Of course you will. B, you're welcome. Sherry, I've been diagnosed with osteopenia. Thank you for the info. You're welcome. Liz, from Croatia. Girlfriend, I'm loving the fact that you're having a good time on your vacation. And Cindy, I also do classical strength every day. Miranda is wonderful. Awesome. Okay. So great tips and sharing for everyone else that needed some advice. Okay. So why did I want to share this with you guys today? I always want to share these kind of things that I go through to just prove not only that what I teach here works, but that I also walk my talk, right? And so all the things that I go through as a postmenopausal woman and all of the things that I practice in my everyday life, I want to model for you so that you also can have hope, that you can have a very normal life and also look and feel your best and reverse some of these things that are going on with menopause, right? It is not something that we have to take as a matter of fact, right? With a lot of the research that people are telling us is matter of fact with menopause. It doesn't have to be that way. You can take control of your life and really make some really great improvements for your overall health and well-being as well. I don't live a strict life. I don't live a life that you would think, oh my gosh, she's one of those health freaks. I am a very normal woman doing very normal things. I just have learned that some lifestyle changes were appropriate for me at this time of my life. And I'm very consistent and very serious about those. And I pay attention to the signs and signals my body is sending me. And I do my research from that standpoint. And that's really the message that I want to keep giving you guys here and letting you guys know that you can do the same thing, right? But it does start up here. It does start with how you think about yourself, how it is you show up around food, and why it is you're continuing to do things that are not serving you when you have proof that they're not serving you. So with that, I'm going to say, good day. I am going to get myself some rest. I feel a little loopy. So if I sounded a little loopy today, I apologize. We left Hawaii last night at 7 p.m., landed at 7:30 this morning with a 5-hour time difference. So my body right now is, I think, on 7 o'clock a.m. Hawaii time with no sleep. So I'm going to get myself set back up today with a nice long fast. I'm drinking my mineralized water, which I missed when I was in Hawaii as well. And I'll see you guys back here at on Thursday at noon Central Standard Time. And we'll talk about another topic that's pertinent to us as women who are going through this beautiful season called menopause. Have a great day, you guys.